Welcome. My name is Harry Phillips, and I'm the author of When the Kingdom Comes, From Global Chaos to Eden, a book I've written a number of years ago. And I would really like to encourage everyone who listens to these videos or reads my blogs, if you haven't already, pick up a copy and read the book. It deals with the idea of what Christians will be doing after the rapture, after the tribulation. For 1,000 years of existence on this earth after the tribulation, there are going to be people who are going to survive the tribulation and are going to live on this earth with Jesus as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And you and I will be here at that time. And we're going to see all of that 1,000 years, and we're going to see all those people who survived the tribulation, and they're going to have families, and they're going to raise kids, and they're going to repopulate the earth. And I talked a little bit about that in my last video. But this video, I want to talk about encouraging you to stand firm until Jesus comes. You know, I watch a lot of YouTube videos and I study global finances, and I'm watching what's happening around the world. And there is no doubt that our world is being systematically taken apart. Our country is being systematically taken apart and reassembled into a socialist world. A world that will be just perfect for the Antichrist to come in and take over and have control of our lives, our livelihood, and have control of everything. But at the worst of that, you and I won't be here to see that. Unfortunately, as we look around today, it's very possible that we're going to see the groundwork laid for a closed system of economics in which you will not be able to buy or sell unless you have signed on with the government's plan to control your money, possibly through an app on your smartphone. And you will be buying and selling with a Fed coin. And the American dollar is going to go down the tube. And you will not be able to spend or have an American dollar. It'll turn into a digital Fed coin. And I fear that we're going to see that as Christians. And I fear that we're going to be forced into compliance to come under government control. Part of that we can see with this vaccine, mandated jab. The fact that you are going to have to be forced to take that vaccine, or you will not be allowed to go to a movie theater. You will not be allowed to enter a restaurant. You will not be allowed to participate with your membership in a gym and go out and exercise at a Planet Fitness. And you will not be allowed, I think, to even enter a grocery store where other people are. And if you don't want to receive the vaccine, you will be forced out of the system. Now, I've talked about this before, and I've explained that the fact that our government may push this as a social exercise to gain control over you and me, that this is not necessarily the mark of the beast. It's the same pattern, but it's not necessarily the mark of the beast. As I read Revelation, the Antichrist will cause all, great and small, to receive a mark in their hand or in their forehead, and they will not be allowed to buy or sell. Now, I'm not going to debate whether it's a implanted chip, or I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go to any of that. I'm going to simply concentrate on the idea that it's the Antichrist who is enforcing this globally. Now, we might see it enforced nationally in this country. We might see America's interests in keeping it as an American federal coin, Fed coin. We will not be forced to sign up with the Chinese digital currency or the Indian currency, or sign up for the British sterling or pound. We will be forced to enter into a system that will be designed by the United States. Now, I believe eventually all these systems will be linked together and brought under one person's control. You and I will not be here to see that, I believe. We will not see that. But we may see the rise of being forced into compliance with a government who is stepping way out of bounds and taking authority and power to themselves and doing everything they can to socially condition you and me to accept their demands. And they're bringing a lot of pressure on corporations to fire their employees who will not receive the jab. They have people leaving the military who refuse to get vaccinated. We have teachers that are leaving school systems who are refusing to be vaccinated, and we are seeing healthcare officials and nurses and doctors leaving the healthcare profession because they refused to receive the jab. So how are we going to stand firm? We're going to refuse all this stuff? Well, that would be up to you. And I think it may come down to some pretty serious financial concerns as the next couple of 2 or 3 years go by. And we're going to have to weigh on this to decide if we're going to be able to maintain our livelihoods, maintain our family structure, take care of our kids, our wives, our husbands, and if we're going to be able to live in this world that is closing in on us. And we'll have to think that through. Obviously, it's laying the groundwork for something much bigger. And I think the first goal is to bring the United States into compliance, its population into compliance to the government, and then that government may end up falling or giving away its authority to somebody who will ultimately obtain global domination. And that's what's happening. So you're seeing this play out right now. Watched an interesting video on New Zealand, who has made it a point that all their businesses are going to comply and they're going to play ball with China because they're not going to bite the hand that feeds them. And their economy is booming, but their freedoms are disappearing. And they have decided to sell out to the Chinese. Now, the Australians, on the other hand, are waging a bitter war of words with China, and they're paying a very heavy price for it. But it may not be long till they capitulate. Now, whether China's the end game, the country that'll take over it all, I don't know. I sort of doubt it. But I would say this. Some people think we're in the tribulation, and we're not. If we were in the tribulation, I think we would. My question would be, who's the Antichrist? Who is he? Where is he at? He hadn't shown his face. But I would suggest to you that the most interesting thing to keep your eye on would be the 2024 elections. Because the man who steps forward, who says he has all the answers to the trouble of things that are going on, may be the one that gains the following and the support. Of course, it might be Trump, or it might be somebody that he supports, who will have the charisma to excite people to follow him, and that he will promise to fix it all. That's when I would get really worried if I were you. In the meantime, I think we're going to see a lot of chaos in the finances. I think our dollar is going to have to probably die. I think it's being forced to be killed, whether by central bankers or by the mega wealthy or the controlling entities behind the scenes to bring America to its knees, to usher in a Fed coin. I think some of this has a design behind the scenes. So the idea of standing firm as a Christian is just to recognize that some of these things may end up playing out. And it won't mean the end of the world for you or me. It'll just mean we're one step closer to exiting out of here. So I would like to encourage you that we're close, but there's still a few more things that are going to play out. So what do you do between now and then? How do you stand firm? Well, number one, if you are not living in the Scriptures daily, reading and drawing close to Jesus, you're going to have a hard time. If you're not in a church with other believers and fellowshipping, you're going to have a hard time. It's going to be tough for you. Now, I know you might complain, well, there's no church around me, there's nobody, blah, blah, all this and stuff. Yeah, I know churches are a tough place right now. Hard to find a good one. Hard to find one that'll teach the Scriptures. But they are out there. Whether you start your own home church, find a godly man who will teach the Scriptures, build a community of faith where you can encourage each other, you're going to have to draw together. You're not going to be able to stand by yourself. You're going to have to stand with other believers. And that's how you're going to stand firm. And you're going to patiently wait out as the forces of evil work behind the scenes to bring about the global situation that will be ripe for the rise of Antichrist. Now, I would love to see the Spirit of God move across this earth and defeat all these plans. But I think the handwriting is on the wall. And the Antichrist cannot make his appearance until some of the foundation has been laid. And that's why I think you're seeing some of the things happening that are happening today. But be of good courage. Won't be too many more years. We'll skip over all the worst of it, you and me at the Rapture. And we'll be back here to form a new government with Jesus Christ as our head. And as I explained in my book, you and I will be the governing agency, because the Scriptures say that you and I will rule and reign with Him forever. Well, that means in the kingdom, we're part of His government arm. We will be part of the government agency, and we'll have a chance to do it the right way. So don't worry and fret too much that you can't change what's happening, because it may be just too overwhelming. It just may be too far down the path. Now, I will still vote. I will still make my voice heard. I'm not a defeatist. I am a realist. And I know that if God wants to bring this kingdom, there are certain things that are going to happen in this world. And the Antichrist will have to make his appearance so Jesus Christ can defeat him in the last days. It may be that these things are allowed by God in order to bring about His ultimate purpose. So stand firm. Build your faith community. Get involved with other believers. But most of all, you have to know this Jesus Christ, who will preserve you and take care of you until He comes to fetch you. Well, this is Harry Phillips, trying to bring you words of encouragement. I'm confident. I'm standing firm. Read my book and get some reasons to stand firm and a vision to look forward to. So, until next time, I'll see you here, there, or in the air.